Hey everybody, welcome to the Crooked Treehouse Reading Redux. We had a little technical issue with part one last time, so we're re-recording live today, and we're starting things off with Valerie Loveland, who recently put out their book, Unsolved Mysteries Theme Song, which has an amazing cover. You should buy it for the poems, but you should also appreciate the cover. It's very cool. Um, Valerie has been doing poetry since the dawn of time. Uh, they do excellent work and they run magical workshops about once a week where a bunch of people get together and each person reads a poem and then develops prompts from the poems that they read. And somehow every single time, everyone ends up with a poem that's really good because Valerie and her workshop are magic. So, Valerie, you are kicking us off tonight. It is your turn.
Okay. Uh, this I'm excited about this reading. Uh, I am glad that we get to see it a second time because I loved everyone's poems, and I'm glad that we'll have a recording of it now. So the first few poems that I'm going to read are they are from the book Unsolved Mysteries Theme Song. This was a really fun book to write. I wish I could write every book in a theme like this. It doesn't usually work like that because I don't have that kind of stamina usually. Anyway, when a widower is interviewed on Unsolved Mysteries, they know what to say even before the show. They know how to say they didn't do it. Nobody needs to say what it is. Every it is the same it, and every she is the same she. Why won't the camera record their hands during the interview? Why didn't someone put the wedding photo in their hands and record their expression? The wedding photo is not interviewed, but it knew as soon as the camera shutter opened what was going to happen 10 years later. Viewers get our own set of clues. We can tell by the room where they interview, by the shirts they wear. We know if they say a rough patch, rocky, struggling, not getting along, having problems. If they admit one thing, they admit everything. Hidden treasure doesn't want to be found. I was going to skip this, but how could I when Robert Stack smiles in a certain financial way as he announces the treasure's modern value? He has enough money, but I think he might not have enough treasure. I don't believe in precious metals that don't bury themselves. When was the last time someone found gold that wasn't dust? Gold pretends to be human when it writes a map away from itself in an antique diary. It doesn't want someone's hands all over it again. It just finally finished wiping off fingerprints from the last time someone handled it. Gold knows it is only safe if it disappears. Robert Stack is a series of tubes. He is the root of a connective data structure, meets with us weekly so he can tell us what we need to know all at once. Asking Robert Stack to look for a something or a someone on Unsolved Mysteries is like looking for the someone on the internet. His voice box / larynx soaks up heights and weights / scars / timelines of events / videos of fires / orphans / amorphic music / fugue state / abandoned cars / cold night / police blotter / drops of blood / nightmares. And on camera, he wrings out that sponge. Wind blew open his trench coat, and I saw inside was not a body, but pipes and copper wires. He looks like an empty subway tunnel, not abandoned, but undiscovered, a secret packed away. sealed, waiting. Even Robert Stack dies. The internet told us all together, just like Robert Stack would have. Death happens to everyone, but how could his heart fail when Robert Stack has never failed a thing in his life? How can there be a death without also an investigation? How are we sure tears are sincere until the results come back from the lab? We don't know what happens in a mortuary without the light that bends through a camera lens. Moths have been masticating all of Robert Stack's wool sweaters again. So many minuscule holes. I don't think he actually died. I look at my television screen and he's still there. That's all the ones from the book. These are newer ones coming out. I warned you. I warned you about the person I saw in the woods. I warned you about the person I became in the woods. I looked like I was in a clearing, but that was not the sun on my face. I was just flushed, vivid, luminous, vibrant, gleaming, florid, phosphorescent, lustrous. My famous last words did not end up famous, nor were they my last words. I came back from the dead and couldn't stop talking. I woke up from dying and couldn't stop laughing. I was somehow even worse than when I was alive because my mouth didn't have to move to talk anymore. He was mixed feelings. He was mixed predictions. He was a mixed bag, a mixed up bag, a bag of feelings. He was a sentence that ran backwards. He was the worst thing that ever happened to me. He was a ripped up confession that got ripped into even smaller pieces. He was a coin that drowned whoever put him in their purse. He was mourning jewelry. I buried myself up to my waist. I buried myself up to my waist and pretended a magician sawed me in half. He didn't, but they made him bring me back the bottom half of my body. Since I was faking, I wasn't sure where he got the legs. It was so awkward, and I didn't want to admit I lied. So I sawed myself in half, kept my legs buried in the ground, and put on the other legs. Later, I went to where I buried them, and there was only an empty hole. Is it possible for legs to kick their way out of the ground? I followed my own footprints, but they jumped into a stream and disappeared. It was wearing my favorite skirt. I let my new legs walk us around where they wanted. We walked for so long. We stopped at and won a legs beauty pageant on the way. Eventually, we got to a robin's egg blue, mid-century modern architecture house. The mailbox was a miniature version of the house. When she opened the door, we looked at each other's legs, our shoes on the wrong person. It was easy to switch our legs back, but first we let the legs cartwheel and wrestle around like puppies. Old music for CVS pharmacy sounds like mental illness, and it somehow gets more mentally ill the longer I wait for them to answer. The song repeats every 30 seconds, just like my thoughts. I tried to like the generic version of my medicine, but it was just like that guy I knew I was going to break up with. We didn't meet our deductible yet this year because my husband stopped going to therapy. This sounds like a punchline, but isn't. It is Halloween and all the ghosts and monsters are already put away, except for me. I try to act like I am not desperate to get my medicine because it is a controlled substance. I stop myself from saying at the beginning of every phone call, I've never tried drugs or drinking. I want to tell everyone in line at CVS, I sleep on my back like a vampire, but I haven't been sleeping lately. I try not to say when I give the cashier my HSA card, I used to be a poet and was going to try to be one again. I promise the pharmacy check at CVS I will start running again. I promise my doctor I will stop spending so much money. I promise my insurance company I will call my mom more. I promise my husband I will have a good one. Thanks, everyone.